high school, he would have told you he's going to be a fur trapper. After high school, he would have told you he's going to be a herpetologist. And that's a far cry from becoming one of the most famous Basque scholars ever.
I just always remember trying to hunt down some Basco somewhere to interview them, it seemed like, and we'd be in the car and trucking along. And
I mean, he was a professor here. He is a scholar of Basques around the world, not just the Basque Country or northern Nevada or Idaho or northern California, but I remember reading something he wrote about Basques in Australia in the cane fields, for example.
well, I think most of my most vivid memories with my father growing up were always on the road. You know, we're always in one of his sites. And I remember going camping once with my dad, and you know, I think I was about 10. And he sensed that there might be a Basque shepherd up in the hills. And next thing you know, we're like off-roading it up to look for this Basque shepherd. And so I remember we all just sort of sat around and watched Dad do his interview, and then we continued on our family, you know, vacation kind of thing. But I remember that very, very fondly.
Basque person considers themselves a Basque only if they can speak the Basque language. Bill has mastered that, and he's received some of the highest awards that one can receive given by the government of the Basque Country.
If you think about what he has done personally in terms of his relationship with the Basque Country, how much he's been honored there, how much he's traveled there, how much he knows about that country, what he has meant to the Basque population, that's an impact that is beyond measurement, but it's huge.
Both of my parents were children of Basque immigrants. My father's Spanish Basque, my mother's French Basque. So I grew up with a very strong sense of Basque identity. When I came to join the advisory board at the center, it really, I can't express how strongly it made me feel about how important this is and the work that has been done here by Bill Douglas as well as the others that are here today in really preserving that culture of Basque. This center has given our culture a credibility.
I think that what my dad has done in a time of globalization and in a time of homogenation, and how ethnic identity has sort of succumbed in part to some of those pressures. I think my father and Jon Bilbao and people like him have managed to preserve a very unique, and not large in numbers, but a very unique culture when there's a lot of downward pressure that attempts to erase that.
He created awareness of Basques and their contributions to the world, what they've done. I think he'll always be remembered as one of the great Basque scholars. I don't think he'll ever be forgotten.
I feel very proud that we will always have this center that will preserve again that strong culture and sense of identity. It's very important to me.
And Bill came to my office one day with a young man named Carmelo Urza, fairly famous person in his own right, and they were interested in getting some money to start a study abroad program. Stuff was already underway, but they were thinking bigger than just the Basque Country. So I could see in this program they were describing at that point on a small scale that this was worth at least a $7,500 investment, and I was very interested at the time in study abroad programs around the country. And it just changes you when you're young, and especially if you're seeking some path to a better life.
I think his importance to the university is that he started and built the Center for Basque Studies, which is now called the Center for Basque Studies. And as far as I know today, it's the only institution in the United States of America that gives a doctorship or PhD in Basque Studies.
he belongs to the Basque people. I mean, I believe that. It is a diaspora, and the fact that he saw that, and it wasn't just American West, and that he did, care enough to go looking. Now, granted, there was probably fish, that he thought he'd go look for too. That is his legacy to the Basque people, is that he cared enough to be out there on that stage and save something that wasn't even his to necessarily save.
Bill is not one to take credit. He's not one to toot his own horn. But as you look back at some of the major achievements of the center, I think you will always see his handprint on it.
You put all that into the mix, with all of the other things that he has done in his life, and you've got somebody who is worthy of recognition.
You know how difficult it is to get a bunch of Basques to agree on one thing, but I know that I join all of them when I say there could be no better person to recognize on our center than Bill Douglas. Congratulations, Bill, and thank you again for all that you've given us.
Bill, now that you have your name, or will shortly have your name on this wonderful building that you are so much a part of having put in place here, I wonder if you might take me out someday to the Truckee River and teach me how to fish.
Dad, I know, and everyone in the family knows, that you have always been on the hunt for Boca Bill. And I think that maybe the Basque Studies program, named after you, for me, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, this is your Boca Bill. And I don't have to travel to some hot, sticky climate to find you there. I could find you here always, and that is your gift to us.
Bill, I love you like a brother, and I can think of no better honor than to have the Center for Basque Studies named after you. Congratulations.